Fani Willis. Fani Willis down in Georgia saying, you know what? She's totally above it all, above the law. If they subpoena her, good luck. She's not going to testify. Not Fani. Watch.
You appear before a Georgia Senate committee without a subpoena?
Well, first of all, I don't even think they have the authority to subpoena me, but they need to learn the law.
So will you appear, yes or no?
I will not appear to anything that is unlawful. And I have not broken the law in any way. I said it, I'll say it amongst these leaders. I'm sorry folks get pissed off that everybody gets treated evenly.
All right. I think she answered that very well.
Oh, Fani. Well, if you're called to testify, my dear, you have to testify. I mean, those are the rules, right? And you are a lawyer. So you may think you've done nothing illegal, but other people may think otherwise. And thus, my dear, you would have to testify. Don't they teach that in law school anymore? Apparently not. Anyway, Fani Willis saying she's having no part of this. If they decide to launch an investigation, I'll tell you, they absolutely need to. They need to figure out just exactly what kind of arrangement she had going on. This is a woman who controls some $36 million in her payroll. $36 million. I mean, that's a lot of money, right? For one little lady to be in charge of, especially a little lady who promised us that she would never, ever do anything like had some kind of torrid affair with one of her employees or possibly use money and spend it unwisely from taxpayers, perhaps to have an affair with an employee. Oh, no. She was never going to do that. Remember, that's what she campaigned on, for goodness sakes. Let's take a little walk down memory lane.
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees. Because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children. Because we deserve better.
Oh, Fani, you know what? We do deserve that. We deserve a lot more than you, my dear. Anyway, so she's running $36 million, and I think the Republicans there in the Senate, GOP, they're saying, wait a second, how does this woman have this much control over this much money? And for goodness sakes, what is she doing paying this schmo $600,000, Mr. Nathan Wade, who can't seem to keep his mouth shut? I won't say anything else. Nathan Wade on GMA, okay, GMA. Good Morning America. You saw him yesterday. I get new sound, but first off, let's start off with this one because he wants you to know it's totally normal. Like it's cool. It's American to have a little thingy in the workplace.
Workplace romances are as American as apple pie. It happens to everyone. But it happened to the two of us.
Do you regret
that thing? I regret that private matter became the focal point of this very important prosecution. This is a very important case. I hate that my personal life has begun to overshadow the true issues in the case.
The relationship created a whirlwind of distraction from the indictment of former President Trump and 18 others for alleged election interference, some of whom have taken plea deals while others, including Trump, have pleaded not guilty. Attorneys for some of those defendants argue that Wade and Willis's actions disqualified them from trying the case, filing a motion against the prosecutors and revealing the romance to the public.
A Washington Post columnist wrote, "What were they thinking? How could two seasoned attorneys embroiled in the prosecution of a former president start a romance and not see this trouble coming a mile away?" And so what were you thinking in that moment?
Again, you don't plan to develop feelings. You don't plan to fall in love. You don't plan to have some relationship in the workplace. That you don't set out to do that, and those things develop organically. They develop over time. And the minute we had that sobering moment, we discontinued.
Yeah, I don't exactly think that is entirely truthful. You know what else is not really entirely truthful? Is the way he's trying to spin this and feed a narrative that you're supposed to believe, because now it's on Good Morning America, that somehow this relationship started after he got the gig. There's a lot of evidence, thanks to, what do you know, the handy divorce attorney. I mean, gosh, the guy gets divorced. Talking about bad timing. Imagine this. If he hadn't gotten divorced, we might not know all this. But his wife is like, where did all that money go? And what were you doing all those times? So it turns out that there's some 20,000 text messages going back and forth between Nathan and Fani. There, I said it. Fani, before, sorry. I'll just apologize in advance. I can't help my New England accent. Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had all these text messages going back and forth before he got the gig. Like zillions of them. And then he's over at her place, at her condo, before he gets the gig. So I'm like, okay, that's one heck of a job interview. Or, I don't know what else to say other than she hired her boyfriend. So she hired her boyfriend, and we've got to say, was there anything in exchange? I mean, other than we won't go there, right? Like, did she get any money off the top? Cruises, dinners out. I mean, technically, he could probably have given her a Rolex watch, and there's not much anyone can do because they'd say, oh, well, that's just, the boyfriend giving the girlfriend something. But what if it was actually determined that she was getting a cut? What if she struck some kind of deal? I mean, she seems like she's kind of a wheeler dealer, if you ask me. Did she strike a deal? I'm throwing this out as a hypothetical because this is a question that should be asked and should be examined. Could she have struck a deal where she was getting a percentage of his pay and not declaring it even? I mean, I would want to know. This is where you need the forensic accountant in there digging hard. I mean, if they can pull all those boxes out of Mar-a-Lago, they ought to be able to get into Fani Willis's bank account. Of course, one thing that complicates it just a tad is the fact that Fani deals only in cash. When she said she paid him back for the cruise and the dinner and this and that, she said she did so in cash, and nobody believed her. They're like, yeah, really? Whatever. You can't do that, you see. If you dare to challenge Fani Willis and say, are you really using cash? Somehow now you're challenging her culture. And that's no-go zone, right? That's basically what her dad told us on the stand, a former Black Panther turned lawyer himself. Watch him.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Counsel. When your daughter moved or left the house that she owned, did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash. And I trained, you always keep some cash, because I've been places, and just because of the color of my skin, for example, I took a fellowship at Harvard when my daughter was just if I might, Your Honor, when I was just, she was just,
So that was a tangent. I guess he wanted us to know he was educated at Harvard. Education isn't worth a whole lot these days now, is it? I say this with a little bit of remorse, having graduated from Columbia, and I'm totally disgusted to see what's going on. The protest's still happening, by the way, at Columbia University right now, so much so that they had to cancel their commencement. Lovely. But anyway, this is Fani Willis's dad, and he's basically saying it's a black thing, that we keep cash on hand. We have to keep cash on hand, and how dare you ask us about it? So nobody can actually figure out what exactly she was giving him or what she may have been taking from him. But you know what? Again, it's not that hard. And the divorce attorney was already looking. So I would highly encourage the Republicans that are looking into an investigation there in Fulton County, Georgia, to get themselves a really good forensic accountant. I could recommend a few. I mean, there's some good ones out there. You guys, you go in and you start digging deep and you look at his accounts. Hey, you can help the ex-wife in the process, right? She can get some of that money back. Maybe she can sue Fani for it. So you go and you look and see exactly what he was doing with his money and whether or not any of it was getting skimmed off the top to go to none other than the so-called girlfriend. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, unbelievable in the point, I can't believe we're talking about it.